So, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So, why is it that some people get so much done, some people accomplish so many things, and others so little? Well, it comes down to how we use that time. And honestly, as I'm making this video, I realize that time management is probably one of the most unsexy things to talk about. But I want to talk about it because it's very, very important. I'm not always the best at it. I'm sure you aren't either. We can all be a little bit better, probably a lot better. So let's talk about exactly how we can do that. The goal is by the end of this video, you know exactly how to prioritize your time effectively and feel like you're actually on top of your shit instead of always feeling behind. So, I want to introduce this concept. It's called the 4 quadrants of time management. We talked yesterday about a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Well, this is actually also in that book. So, let's review these quadrants really quick. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. And actually, let me move the mic back here and we can, stop looking at my ugly face and look at this beautiful diagram. So you can see in the top left corner, that is urgent and important. On the bottom left corner, it is important but not urgent. That is what we call Q2. Q3 on the top right corner is called not urgent, Q3 is urgent but not important. And then bottom right is, I'm trying to memorize this all. Bottom right is not urgent, not important. So I want to go into the concept of this. So essentially, Q1, important and urgent things are crises and deadlines. Things that need to get done, like they're very urgent, they're very important. It has to get done. Q2 is important but not urgent. These are things that we all say are important. These are all things that we try to do, but we don't always do. This is the long-term goals, the planning, the personal growth. Q3, not important but urgent, are the distractions, the interruptions, the unnecessary meetings, the things that demand our time or our siren alarms going off, but really don't really matter. And then Q4 is things that aren't important and aren't urgent. Mindless scrolling, distractions, bullshit, minutia, whatever you want to call it. So we want to think of our time like a budget. Some tasks are investments and others, like, Q4, are just throwing your time or your money away. So you want to be smart with how you are investing your time. So let's talk about specifically each quadrant and how we can do this as far as investments go. So let's start with Q1, important and urgent. Impergent, I just made a new word. Important and urgent tasks. Let's say you're running late for a work project due tomorrow. Well, shoot, you knew about the deadline weeks ago, but procrastinating turned it into a crisis. And now you're stressed, staying up late, and scrambling. The thing you need to know about Q1, things that are important and urgent, is that most of the time, you could have avoided them becoming an urgent thing. The car needs to be fixed tomorrow. Well, you could have fixed it earlier. It was a Q2 thing, but because you procrastinated it so long, now it became a Q1. It became urgent. It was important before, not urgent. You put it off. Now it's urgent. And that's what a lot of us do. We put things off until they're urgent, and we mindlessly are reacting to the day rather than, instead of reacting to the day, we're acting on the day. So that's very important. The key takeaway there is that some Q1 tasks are unavoidable, but many of them are preventable if we were to spend more time in quadrant 2. So let's talk about quadrant 2. These are the things that are important, but not urgent. These are the things like going to the gym, learning a new skill, planning your week. You don't have to do these things today, but consistently neglecting them leads to bigger problems in Q1, like poor health or career stagnation. So you want to make sure you are prioritizing Q2 tasks. You want to make sure that you are creating enough time to spend time there. Even though it's not urgent, you need to create the urgency because, as Benjamin Franklin puts it best, how did he put it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. What that means is it will take so little effort to do when it's not urgent. But when it becomes urgent, now you're sacrificing time. The things that were important to you that you planned on doing that day, now you have to put off to later or completely miss out on important moments that you could have had in life because you were too lazy. So don't be. Make sure you're spending time in Q2. Now, Q3, these are the things that are not important but urgent. An example here would be answering emails or attending unnecessary meetings. You might feel productive because you're doing things, but is it really productive? Is it really impacting your day, your life, and the lives of other people? Probably not, because they're not important. So while you can feel productive, they rarely move the needle in your personal or professional life. And what you want to do is learn to say no, or even better, delegate these tasks. So if you have an important or a quote unquote important meeting, says boss, but you know it's not going to, affect your life or your work in any way, shape, or form, ask for the notes. Ask for your assistant to go there. If you don't have an assistant, well, figure out how you can get out of that meeting. Figure out how you can spend more time in Q2 and less time in Q3 on something that's not important but quote unquote urgent. You want to ignore these things as best as possible. And then very last, Q4, these are the not important and not urgent things. This is like binge watching on Netflix for hours or endlessly scrolling on TikTok. These are things that honestly just end up happening rather than you planning on doing it. You want to make sure you're limiting those things. These activities aren't necessarily bad in moderation, but too much Q4 time leaves you feeling unfulfilled and behind. So these are where a lot of our time ends up going as well when we don't feel, or maybe we feel like all of the important and urgent things are done. So it's like, now I can relax. Instead of doing that, make sure you're at least spending a little bit of time in Q2 on the things that aren't important but aren't urgent, because you are going to feel way more fulfilled, way more productive long term than spending all this time in Q4. Q4 is sometimes necessary. It's not bad in moderation. But if you're spending all of this time there, 2 hours on TikTok each night, you're just going to feel like you're wasting your day. And truthfully, time is what life is made up of. And if you are just throwing it away, what does that say about how you value your life? Anyway, those are the 4 quadrants. Those are how to use them the most effectively. I challenge you, track your time this week, or right now, actually. Think about, where has your time been going for the last day, day and a half, 3 days, 4 days, whatever. Look at where the time has been going and track it moving forward for, a couple of days. Categorize, what quadrant would this task fit into? Where am I spending my time? Just like if you were going through your bank account and trying to figure out, where is all my money going? Where is all of my time going? You'll find that a lot of those things are Q3, Q4 things that aren't even important. Stop. Do your best to stop spending time in those areas. And I challenge you, spend at least 30 minutes tomorrow or today, if there's time left in the day, on those important but not urgent things. Like I said, you're going to feel so much more fulfilled, so much more productive, and you're just going to be a better overall person the more time you spend in that quadrant. You can avoid having to react to the day and having to feel behind, and actually start to feel ahead and in control of your life. Looking at my notes here, I want to make sure I don't miss anything important. I think I went through it all. Look at me. You see, even I got notes. I managed my time. It wasn't urgent, but it was important that I made a list of the most important things to talk about here. And I crushed it. I hope you're doing the same. Leave a comment if this video impacted you. Peace.